Welcome to the Hawley Baptist Church podcast, connecting you to a community in which everyone is welcome, lives are changing, and Jesus is King. Thanks for joining us today. You can subscribe to keep up to date with us. Did you know you can also join our service each Sunday via a live online meeting? Please get in touch to find out more about that. But for now, we pray you enjoy what God has in store for you in this episode and that it helps change your life for the better. In Jesus' name, welcome.
Well, good morning and welcome to Hawley Baptist Church Online. It's great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. My name's Neil.
Morning, and my name's Phil. I think I've got that right.
Yeah, it's probably about the only thing we will get right this morning.
Yeah.
So today is the second Sunday in Advent.
It is.
And Advent means?
Advent, it's that season where you get ready for Christ's arrival. It's that moment of anticipation and preparation as you work towards the big day. That's what it's all about.
Excellent. And talking about getting ready for the big day.
Yeah.
And in your household, are you turkey bought already and presents wrapped and all that sort of stuff? Or are you in the haven't started yet camp?
I'm sort of in the middle of it camp, I think. We weirdly, I bought the turkey yesterday.
Oh, there we go.
I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah.
I never normally buy that. Yeah, so the turkey is in the freezer. I've got to cook it at some point, but yeah, it's in the freezer. So as I take it out in time, we'll be all right.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And in our household, we haven't started anything yet. I think.
Have we not?
No. But there's plenty of time yet. There's
2 weeks. You're fine. Just relax.
no problem at all. And and you at home and people coming,
Yeah, well, weirdly, our Christmas, because I think we're talking about a wonderful plan this morning, aren't we? That's the subject. And our Christmas plans have just been torpedoed. Mum broke a hip 2 weeks ago.
No.
Oh, no. So it's funny, isn't it? You make all these wonderful plans for Christmas, and then everything shifts and everything changes. So it'd be interesting to hear about God's plan, which doesn't change and shift, I'm glad to say, is the one thing you've got solid ground under your feet. Whereas in real life, our plans, I don't know, what are your plans?
We've got a house tour coming, so I think it was 12, 13 of us Christmas Day. Once again, we're planning, but we haven't actually quite sorted out how many people are coming yet.
Yeah.
So we are well behind. And whatever we plan, as you say, it won't quite go as we expect.
People don't behave, do they?
No.
They just don't do what you ask them to do.
But as you say, God's plans are different, and maybe we can learn a bit more. So today is actually the second Sunday in Advent. Advent started last Sunday, but today is the first in our Advent series, and the series is called
Small Wonder. Small Wonder, we remembered that.
Well, do you notice how I keep asking you the question? Because that means I don't know the answer myself. So, yes, small wonder. You're absolutely
It's great
right.
teamwork, you see.
And Dave Pryor is bringing that to us. So, in fact, let's go to Dave now.
Thank you, Martin, and good morning, everyone. Happy Christmas. Is it too early to say Happy Christmas? First in the Christmas series today, isn't it? So I've heard a lot of this week, haven't we, listening to the radio and things about when we switch on Christmas. If there's anything like my house at the moment, the lead up to Christmas, so what we would call Advent, maybe. So from the 1st of December, basically when the Advent calendars can be opened. So 1st of December all the way through to Christmas Eve. There's almost as much excitement in my house. I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old, as there is on Christmas Day probably, because they love the lead up to Christmas and everything that comes with it. And I expect, like many of you, we have traditions in our house with that. So they have their Advent calendars. They also have what they know as Cheeky Elf. Anyone else have an elf in their house at all? So for other people, you might know it as Elf on the Shelf. So we know it as Cheeky Elf. So when the girls wake up in the morning, the elf has done something mischievous. And they love that tradition. It's part of the traditions that we have at Christmas time, and I expect a lot of you have those as well. And I like this time of year as well. I think it's a nice time of year. I love seeing how excited the girls get. I love the food and the drinks that we have, the nice frosty walks, the nativities, the carol services, everything around that. But I know that for some people, it's actually quite an unbearable time of year, and a time of year that people find really hard. And I think as we look at these next few weeks at Christmas and the idea of Christmas and the hope that Christmas can bring, I just hope that whether you're at that side where you love Christmas and you think it's the best thing ever, or the other side where you find Christmas completely unbearable, or whether you're somewhere in the middle, actually the message that comes through is for everybody. So let's look at the Bible. I think some verses are going to come up on the screen here from Isaiah. Not those verses from Isaiah. So let's read through some of these verses here.
Which verses do you want?
Oh, sorry. I should have said tonight. Isaiah chapter 2. Thank you, Martin. Isaiah chapter 2, and we're looking from verse 1. I'll give everyone a minute with that. There we go. Back. The mountain of the Lord. This is what Isaiah, son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In the last days, the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established as the highest of the mountains. It will be exalted above the hills, and all nations will stream to it. Many people will come and say, "Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the temple of the God of Jacob. He will teach us his ways, so that we may walk in his paths. The law will go out from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He will judge between the nations and will settle disputes for many peoples. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. Come, descendants of Jacob, let us walk in the light of the Lord." Now, maybe your first with those verses there is, what has this got to do with Christmas? Which was probably my first thought as well with that. So a bit of context here, very briefly. Isaiah was a prophet, and he lived approximately 700 years before Jesus was born. He was a priest, he was a statesman, so he was somebody who was very well connected in the area, very well connected with the government of the time. But we see him also as a prophet, so someone who received visions from God about what would happen in the future. And he was very known at the time within his position of holding the kings of the time to account. So he was quite forthright with them. And he pulled no punches in his words in saying to people about their need to turn away from their sin and turn towards God. Now, as we come on through Isaiah, and we'll be reading the verses in the coming weeks, I think, we know Isaiah chapter 9, the very famous prophecy there about when a Messiah is to be born. And as we look at that in the coming weeks, we always read these verses every year, don't we, in terms of what we see as the Christmas story. And it's a good start to the Christmas story because it's this prophecy that was given of the Messiah coming. It's always worth coming back to that fact that Isaiah lived 700 years before Jesus was born. That's a long time, isn't it? And we read these verses as part of the Christmas story. But sometimes we forget the wonder, I think, of the prophecy that was given so many years before. And I think it's worth dwelling on that fact because we read these verses with hindsight and with context behind. But I think that sometimes loses a bit of the amazement for what they were. And these verses that we're looking at today, they were a prophecy from Isaiah looking to a future where God reigns. So Isaiah doesn't give any specific details here or any specific times about this. But I think the best way to look at it and the best way to see these verses today is to see them as part of God's bigger plan. Now, does anyone here play chess at all? I learned chess a long time ago, and I had to play. I haven't played it for many, many years. I remember learning it when I was younger and knew the moves and everything. And I remember many years ago, I was in my 20s. I travelled to Australia to spend time with some family there, and they had a 12-year-old cousin there, part of the family. He was good at chess. He was very good at chess. And I remember playing him at the time. And if you've ever played chess, you get in that situation when you're making moves simply in response to the other person, not because you want to make moves that are trying to win the game. You're just doing it in response. And every single game I played against him, I just ended up in this situation because he was very good at chess and I wasn't. And I know that the thing with chess and the really, really good chess players, they're called grandmasters, I think. That's what they're known as, isn't it? The grandmasters of chess. With chess, the way they play it is to look a few moves ahead. So they will be making a move, thinking 6, 7 moves ahead, because that's how they play the game. And opponents talk about, when they play these people who are really good at chess, of seeing this move that's made and thinking like, well, that makes no sense. Why is he doing that? But it's because they're planning ahead and because they see the bigger picture. And that's what we need to see sometimes, not just with these verses here, not just with Christmas, but we need to see or try and understand the idea of the bigger picture and God's bigger plan. Because we really struggle with that, don't we? We try and fit the idea of God and all that God has and all that God promises. We try and fit that into what we understand in our small human minds, don't we? And when we think of how big God is and when we think about all the wonderful things God has done, we still try and funnel that into our minds to try and make sense of those things that we can't always make sense of. And no wonder sometimes we end up in a situation when we're just feeling a bit bewildered, maybe a bit hopeless, a bit lost. Because when you read these verses from Isaiah and when he gives this vision of a future, the vision of a future is in contrast to a world that he sees in his day. And we read about the wars that are going on, the nations against nations. And when you think of how long ago these verses were written, you could probably take those and put those right into today's situation. Martin's prayers earlier talked about this world where we see so much bloodshed and so much war. People who are fearful. And not a lot has changed from Isaiah's time to ours in that sense. But Isaiah sees this vision of a future where these weapons of war are turned into farming tools. They will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation will not take up sword against nation, nor will they train for war anymore. And how relevant is that for us today? To take that vision of what the world could be. And what does it say in verse 5 here? It says, "Let us walk in the light of the Lord." And I think that's not just an invitation to look at God's plan, but to actually participate in God's plan, to live in hope, because God is not some distant games master that's unconnected. His grand plan, his hope for the future, includes us. Now, a passage came to mind when I was preparing this. Passage in the New Testament, very well known, when Jesus is asked by somebody, what's the greatest commandment of all? And Jesus replies that it's to love God with all your heart and to love your neighbour as yourself. Missed out a few words there, but you know the passage. And the man replies to Jesus that, oh yeah, that is more important, isn't it, than the offerings and the sacrifices. And Jesus replies to that man and he says, your reply shows that you're not actually too far from the kingdom of God. Now, Jesus' words there were not saying to him, you've got this, you've got it figured out. He's saying, actually, that you are facing the right way. You're facing the right way. You are understanding what it is to love God and to follow God. Sometimes that's the case with us. We need to realize that we don't need to know all the answers. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to have it all figured out. Sometimes we just need to be facing the right way. And being part of God's plan, we need to realize that there is a bigger picture to everything. And that's really hard because it might not seem to you personally today that that's any consolation with things that you're going through, to know that it's part of God's bigger plan and that the future brings hope. And it's not to try and minimize or be glib at all about suffering that goes on for people. But it is to try and give hope that God sees the bigger picture and that he loves you. Maybe you could look back on a period of your life now with hindsight and see how that was actually part of the bigger plan, something that you couldn't see at the time. These words from one of the very well-known carols that we sing, the hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight, which comes from O Little Town of Bethlehem, which was written in 1868. And again, those words there, the hopes and fears, don't they capture the essence of what Isaiah was trying to say many years before that, as well as striking such a poignant note to us today? I hope it encourages you to think of God's bigger plan and the hope that that brings. And whatever your situation this morning, whether you believe in God, whether you don't, whether you're feeling good or whether you are suffering, whether you're thriving, whether you're struggling. But as we start to look through the Christmas story in the next few weeks, take some time to remember that the story does bring hope, no matter what your circumstance. Just before I finish, I'm just going to read a poem to you before some questions come up. When the days feel cold and lifeless, like the darkest winter night, may we bring the hope of Christmas to a world that needs more light. When it feels like nothing's sacred, nothing chaos can't destroy, may we bring the hope of Christmas to a world that's lost its joy. To a world that thrives on outrage, no forgiveness, no release, may we bring the hope of Christmas through the promised Prince of Peace. There is fear and death and darkness, but through faith we rise above as we show the Christ of Christmas to a world that needs his love. Whatever your feelings around Christmas, will you spend some time looking at the idea of the hope that it offers? How does the thought of God's big plan feel to you? What can you do this Christmas to offer hope to someone else?
Well, that was good. I enjoyed
Very
that.
good.
Well done, Dave. And
Yeah.
those questions, probably the second one's a good one to zone in on, which was how does the thought of God's big plan feel to you? Yeah, and this idea that God's got a plan that maybe we don't understand. I play a bit of chess.
Do you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Probably I play it online. I've got loads of games going online, and
Right.
and I'm a probably very average chess player, but I quite like it. And unless you play chess, I think probably the analogy might be wasted because the person that's not that great at chess just makes a move, and the person that thinks they're quite good probably plans like 2 moves ahead.
Yeah.
But the as you say, the grandmasters, the international grandmasters, they're planning 10, 12 moves ahead, and they'll make a move. And I quite like this bit. You don't understand why they've done it until much later, and it's probably actually at the end of the game you suddenly realise, oh, now I understand.
That's where the game turned.
That's where the game turned, and I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
And so I did sort of quite like that analogy around maybe God's plans we don't necessarily understand, and we'll often think, how's God allowed this to happen? The rest of it.
Yeah, I know. Because I think Israel was probably like that. I mean, if you think of Israel's history, I'm amazed they had any hope at all.
Yeah.
Just think about it. So what was it? So from Solomon dies, big king, big empire, big country, very powerful on the world stage. He dies, everything fell apart from them. I mean, their country split in two. Assyria wipes out the northern bit of it, completely wipes it out. Southern bit, Judah, little tiny place, and that gets overrun by Babylon, didn't it? Babylon cut them all off for decades. They're not even in their own home. And then they return. It's an absolute mess. And guess who turns up? Alexander the Great. He stomps through the world, takes over everything. Then he dies, and he's got the usual problem. Who's taken over from me? So his 3 sons look after all the different bits of that empire. And for all that time, Israel is just under the heel of everybody else. They had no hope. They had no country. They had nothing. And then the Romans turn up, just to add insult to injury. Then you got the Romans. And God's saying, don't worry, you'll be a great nation, all these promises to Abraham. And they must have thought, where's God? Where is he? In the middle of all this.
Yeah.
And the world like that. It's like that today, isn't it? There's countries invading countries. And
And hope's an interesting word, isn't it? Because we often think hope as, in the same way as, I don't know, I can remember when I was at school, I'd catch a train, and then I had to catch a bus to get to school. And there's always this hope that a bus would come, and it was often a very forlorn hope.
That's not hope.
No,
that's wishful thinking.
You've got it, and that I think is the difference. We sometimes use that same word.
Yeah, we do.
That I hope a bus will come.
We do,
and I hope that God will do. And it's a different word, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think the difference is wishful thinking is when you put your hope in something, and you've got no control over it. You haven't got control over whether the bus turns up or not. That's out of your hands.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that Leeds will win the Premiership this year.
Yeah, you can hope.
That's wishful thinking, really. Let's be honest. I mean, it's not based on on anything solid. Well, mate, last week was pretty good, but apart from that, it's been pretty wobbly. We can hope for all. There's lots of people putting their money in the .coms, isn't there? And in the tech and the AI stuff at the moment.
Bitcoins, whatever. Yeah.
They're all putting their hope in that. They have no control over that. Whatever happens next.
Yeah.
That's not hope. That's not biblical hope. That's wishful thinking. Because a bit like 2000, it all fell apart, didn't it? The .com bubble burst and everybody lost 40% overnight. So it's about where your hope is placed, and I think for us, hope is not wishful thinking. It's fixed on something more solid, more firm, and somebody who has power and can influence what happens, not just
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
hoping for things that we
Yeah.
have no control
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
So-
it's about that.
Yeah, yeah, and it is understanding that affects our lives now, and as we come to Christmas, it's a good time, isn't it? Just to, in this sort of Advent preparation thing, just to step back and look like the idea of the bigger picture, and that's sometimes quite difficult to do when you're in the middle of everything.
When when life's a bit chaotic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mine feels like that because Mum broke her hip 2 weeks ago. I've been running backwards and forwards. My boss is off long-term sick, so I'm covering that one. And I'm just feeling like my life is chaos at the moment. I'm pulled in all these different directions. I have no control over it. It's just happening. So it's good to know there is a bigger plan where all of that stuff gets sorted out because I can't sort it out. You have to ride that particular chaos at the time. Don't you? But knowing that somebody is in control of the bigger plan and that you're part of it, makes you think it'll be all right.
Yeah,
it'll work out.
Yeah. So maybe that's our action for this week, is to try and find that 5 minutes, maybe just to step back, think about what Dave has said, maybe just read that bit from Isaiah chapter 2, which is probably, as Dave says, it's not naturally when people think about Christmas, they think about a little town of Bethlehem, or unto you a child is born, or whatever. But perhaps you go back a bit further and look at that Isaiah 2, and Isaiah is foretelling, he's forthtelling, he's telling how it's going to be, and how it's going to be is that God is in control, and even when you can't see it, and when your life is chaotic or difficult, maybe it's easy, but whatever it is, and maybe our action for this week is just to try and find that 2 minutes, just to maybe read that passage again and just remember who is in control.
Yeah, and I think you need that
chaotic world,
because Christmas brings it all to the front.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I find that Christmas and the preparations for Christmas and all the stuff that happens to get in the way of that or make it difficult. It could be circumstance, it could be people, because families are difficult, aren't they? Have you got family members who you've got no control? Well, not that you want any control over them, but you know what I mean. They're just crazy. Families are like that, and you just think, it'd be a great Christmas this year if so and so just behaved themselves, or if such and such didn't turn up when so and so was here, and all that sort of stuff, and all that chaos that Christmas sort of makes you more aware of it, I think. Because our idea is, our plan is we'll have this perfect Christmas, and it never works out like that. It's always, you're always riding the waves of chaos in the way. But that's okay. I think that's what it's like, and I think God knows that, and I think He has a hope for us that goes beyond all that stuff. Particularly in the future. I mean, the Christian hope is amazing. There was a documentary. I don't know. Do you remember Nancy Kerrigan, who was the ice skater who got attacked?
Oh yes, yeah.
I was reading about her.
Yeah.
There was a documentary about her a long time ago, and I remember it stuck in my mind. And Nancy Kerrigan was this amazing ice skater. Got attacked before by one of her rivals, we think, before the Olympics, but there was a documentary on her and how good a skater she was, and it showed her doing this amazing routine on the ice, and then it panned down to her mum. Her mum had basically lost her sight, most of her sight. She was almost technically blind at the age of 31, and her mum was pressed up against this 50-inch TV screen, trying to get an idea of what her daughter was doing just a few feet away on the ice, so she could see the colours move and the pixels and things. And they said, "Can you see what she's doing?" She said, "Well, when the colour moves up and down, I think she's jumping. I think that's what she's doing." And then she broke down, Mum did, because she said, "But I can't see her face. I can't see her face." And she just wept.
Mm.
And I don't know about you, but I've been a Christian since I was 14, and God's been a part of my life for a long time. And I've felt Him, and I know He's there, and I know even in the difficult times He's there, but I've never seen His face.
Yeah.
And you know what? Christian hope is this: one day, you will.
Yeah.
And one day I will. And one day I'll see him face to
Face. Yeah.
And that's part of my Christian hope, is that belief that one day we'll be together in a way we're not now. And I think that's part of the big plan, part of the big God bringing us back together again.
Yeah.
And no matter what goes on at Christmas, no matter how balmy the family are, no matter what happens, I've got this bigger plan that I'm part of, and one day I know I'll see him face to face, and then it all makes sense.
Yeah,
it'll all make sense.
Yeah. That's a beautiful picture. I really like, and thank you for that. And maybe we finish and just let people sort of dwell on that. So, if you are a Jesus follower and life is difficult, I guess you know that is the truth. That life is difficult, but that day will come when we will see God face to face, and we'll understand the chess moves and how it all happened and the rest of it that we don't now. If you're not a Jesus follower and that excites you that one day you will see God face to face, then please do contact us and keep watching online. Please do. If you've got a question, we've got an email address which is gotquestions@. Hoping somebody's going to put it on the screen now. It's there we go.
There you go.
Got questions at hollybaptist.org.uk. You would think I would know that by now. And do contact us and say I'm interested to know more. We would love to hear from you. If not, we are somebody's back next week for the next one in the Advent series.
Yeah, that'd be Richard and somebody else.
Yes, up here, and I think it's probably Martin speaking. So we look forward to seeing you then, and we wish you all the very best for your preparations for this Christmas.
Yeah,
okay.
Bless you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Happy Advent.
Bye.
That is it for today's episode. Well done for joining us and making it here to the end. Hopefully you feel slightly encouraged at least, or that you want to follow Jesus just that little bit more closely. You can join us in the room on a Sunday, but if that's too big of a next step for you, did you know you could also join us online through a video feed to one of our morning services? Do get in contact with us if you'd like to find out how you can do that. If you've got any questions about what you've heard today, or about anything that's to do with following Jesus and just church lives, things that we might be able to help you with, we've got an email address just for you. It's gotquestions@hollybaptist.org.uk. We'd love to hear from you there. Don't forget to share this. If you've enjoyed it, somebody else might do too. Share it with your friends. If you want to keep up to date with all that we do, hit that subscribe button to maintain that link with us and all that we produce. You can find it as well, links to these different things on hollybaptist.org.uk/media as well. Thank you for joining us again. We pray God blesses you, and we will look forward to you joining us next time.